Alright lads, it's example. Today we are going to discuss the downfall of FIFA Esports. I'm not sure if you saw it yesterday, but I put up a tweet that got a stupid amount of interaction. It was about the competitive system we had in place in FIFA 19, which is very different to today's FIFA Global Series, or FGS as it's known. So pretty much we had a total of 14 qualifiers across the FGS and FIFA 19, with 18 LANs in total. So a LAN event, you go to somewhere all together in a room, that's a LAN event. 12 of the 14 qualifiers would lead you to 14 possible FGS LAN events, with the rest being standalone FIFA LAN events such as E-Nations, for example. FIFA 19 as an esport year was phenomenal. I got to experience 2 LANs myself in Bucharest and London, with over $400,000 worth of prize money up for grabs. And this year there were only a possible total of 4 FGS LANs. Your domestic league, which Ireland didn't have, and you can only play in one a season, so like E-Premier League if you're from the UK. You had E-Champions League, which gave a playoff spot to the top 3. You had playoffs as well, which is 128 of the best regional qualified players coming together to play and try and qualify for the 4th possible LAN event, which is the FEWC. Then you had the Team of the Season Cup, you had E-Nations and E-Club World Cup, which are all standalone 2v2 LANs. So we have went from 18 LANs a season with 14 qualifiers to a max of 6 LANs a season with 6 qualifiers. Now, in terms of prize pool allocation, yes, it has gotten a lot better for each tournament in FIFA 22. But have you seen the viewership? In the last month, we have had the 3 biggest majors take place. And do you know what the average concurrent view count is across each of these tournaments? 6,000 viewers. 6,000 viewers. That's criminally low. In FIFA 19, the finals of each of these tournaments was pushing 80 to 100,000 concurrent viewers. Now, yes, of course, a lot of the people watching were there for the drops and rewards. But do you think sponsors cared about that? Not at all. Which is why this year's decision for playoffs is truly baffling. Playoffs is when 128 of the best in the world come to LAN and battle it out to reach the top 32, who will then qualify for the FIFA E World Cup. The Swiss format was used to cut down the numbers, which will then be broken down into the into the knockout stages. EA decided to not stream any of the Swiss rounds. None. How crazy is that? It truly baffles me, honestly. Just cutting out 70% of the tournament for no real good reason. The reason this is an issue is because for the audience, they need to have some investment in the players competing. More players competing, more eyes on the broadcast. More players competing on a broadcast, more eyes on the broadcast. More LAN events, more broadcasts. More broadcasts, more eyes, more sponsors. Like, this is what makes sense. It's not rocket science, I get that. But I feel like after this year, it needs to be said. And for some reason, EA decided to take the approach of cutting away the fat off the steak. But you know what? I like the fat on the steak. Or at least let me decide if I want to take the fat off of my own steak instead of doing it for me. But this is what was so good about FIFA 19's competitive system. 18 tournaments, over 920 spots to compete available over the course of a FIFA season with 18 LAN events. And FIFA 22... only 248 spots across 6 LANs. And of those, 96 spots weren't broadcasted at playoffs due to EA's laziness. Now, I understand, okay, I do. The world has been upended by COVID for the last 2 years. Fair enough, that's absolutely fair. So it will take some time before our esport model is of sufficient standard. I just compare FIFA to other esports, and it hurts to see, because football is the biggest sport in the world, period. So I definitely think there's good ground to be made for its esports version, which is FIFA. And we are going further away from getting where we need to be now compared to where the esport looked to be at in FIFA 19. Going backwards in terms of broadcast opportunities for players, for developing characters in the scene for fans to get behind, for organizations to get their name out there on the big stage is now more difficult because of all this too. So in turn will lessen the amount players get contracted by the teams. It all has a knock-on effect. And the only real thing I can put this down to is the laziness from EA coming out of the COVID model and back to a more personable esports structure. Without personality and individuality, all sports die. Fact. It's the stars that attract attention, and it's the sport that keeps them entertained. We need EA actively making stars, building some esports players up like they have with Anders Vergang, but on a much larger scale. Build up the stars for your own game and theirs. Then make the game entertaining to play while broadcasting on a more frequent basis. That's how you'll attract sponsors, players, brands, whatever you like. I'm publicly saying if EA would like to reach out to me and offer me a job, let's talk. Because I know what my passions are, and even without EA paying me, I get sad. I make videos thinking about the state of the esports I've been helping to build for over the last 5 years. With all that being said, I'm sure I've missed a few points, so do me a favor. If I've let anything go, let me know. I have nothing else really to say. Just wanted to talk some shit on the interweb. Peace.